What's going on, everybody? DigiDestin here. Welcome back to another pickup video. I apologize for not having one last week, but this one is going to make up for it. I've got plenty of stuff to show you. I'm very excited for it. Got a decent amount of stuff in the mail as well as some stuff locally, and I cannot wait to show it all to you. This is very exciting. So as you can tell from my background, I did get a large package. I did get some stuff in the mail, did not have time to clean up, but you'll understand why in just a moment. But the first thing I want to show you are a couple other things that I got in the mail. One of them is a Kickstarter, and I've been waiting for this for a few months now. I actually lost track of how long I've been waiting. But this is a cable, but it's actually called the NES Maker here. So we have a couple things here. This is a blank cartridge, NES cartridge, but then we also have this little board here. This is infiniteneslives.com, and what this is, it's basically a flash reader or a flash programmer for ROM boards for NES. So you take that cord that you had, or that I had just a moment ago, you plug this in, you plug it into your computer, and then there's a motherboard and a chip and a ROM chip that goes into here, and you can actually make your own NES games. It comes with a program, so you have to install it into your computer, and in it you can build maps, you can build sprites, you can build games essentially for your NES. So there's that. You plug that into your computer, and I'm sure, yeah, in here itself has the board in there, which is flashable. So essentially, plug this into your computer. Once you're done building a game, you plug this into the chip here, or the board here, and you should be able to program your very own NES game without having to solder anything, which is great. And the awesome thing about this is the board in here is reprogrammable. I believe you can erase it and you can reflash a new game onto it if you decided you wanted to. So I thought this was a very novel idea. Since I don't know how to program, they created a piece of software that anybody could use to create their own NES games. So I'm very excited. Haven't tried it out yet, but I've been thinking of ideas of games that I could make in the future. So hopefully I'll get one soon, and I'll give this a try, and hopefully it becomes one of my own favorite NES games. So very excited about that. So yeah, infiniteneslives.com. I'll leave a link down below, so if you are interested in this, you can access that link and maybe order one for yourself. Next thing, it's actually from an acquaintance of mine. It's from Limited Run Games. Limited Run's not my acquaintance, but somebody ordered something extra. I missed out on it, and they decided to sell it to me for cost. And I'm very excited about this because it is kind of another Kickstarter that I missed out on. But this is Yooka-Laylee for Nintendo Switch from Limited Run, and as you know, it was created by the team that helped develop Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, and so they decided with this limited run release they would release it in a packaging that looked like the N64 game, or a N64 game. I don't have this game yet, which is why I'm excited for it, mainly because I did back this Kickstarter when it first came out, but for my Kickstarter reward I decided to go with Wii U because I wanted it on Nintendo, just like Banjo-Kazooie was. And unfortunately they got canceled just because of the Switch coming out and then the Wii U being phased out. So I never got my copy of Yooka-Laylee, and so this option from Limited Run Games was just absolutely perfect for what I was looking for, and it came in better packaging too, so I'm very excited about this. Alright, moving on to some thrifted finds / secondhand classifieds finds. We've got a couple things from Goodwill. This is just standard power cord for your slim PS2. The only thing that's missing is the part that actually plugs into the wall, but this is the actual adapter, AC adapter. Don't run across these too often, so I figured for $3 I'd pick it up just in case I do come across a slim PS2 that needs one. Another PlayStation cord from the same Goodwill, set of component cables, but this is the cool kicker here. This is actually for PSP. Haven't seen one of these before in the wild, but I think it would be very cool to be able to play your PSP on your TV, or even I could plug this into my Elgato and start streaming PSP games, hopefully, if it works that way. But I think this is a very cool set of cords. It will definitely give me a little bit more incentive to play my PSP. And a couple other thrifted finds. Just a couple GameCube controllers from Value Village, purple in color, in alright shape. They do need a little bit of cleaning. These ones were $7 a piece. Again, not that bad. Not the greatest price. I like controllers to be around $3. But again, I'm not complaining because these are intact controllers for GameCube, and these are very popular for the new Smash Bros. And any other Smash Bros. Games. So they are still relevant in today's time. So that's always nice to find. And then in the rest of this box is actually a find from Offerup. I messaged this fellow later in the night wanting to pick up this bundle here, this Super Nintendo bundle, and he had a great price for it. And unfortunately, the day that I messaged him, I couldn't meet him right away, and so I let him know if he wanted to sell it to me and it was still available the next day, I would be willing to meet up with him. And fortunately and luckily, he was a nice enough guy to actually hold it for me, even though he got other responses for this listing. And so he messaged me the next day. He said, "Hey, I still have it available. If you want, I can sell it to you. Let's just meet up and call it good," that sort of thing. So this is, like I mentioned, is a Super Nintendo bundle. Came in a bag. It's got 2 controllers, the cords, composite cords. Both controllers are the original Nintendo controllers, first party controllers. We have a Super Nintendo Junior, so the smaller version of the Super Nintendo. It's in alright shape. It's a little dirty, but I can clean that up. And the cool thing is, this second iteration of the Super Nintendo came with controllers that had the Nintendo logo on top that were engraved into the plastic, or embossed into the plastic. So I don't know if you can see that Nintendo logo, but it's actually built into the plastic itself. And these ones are a little bit harder to find. Not quite more expensive, but they are harder to find. But both of these have the Nintendo logo that are engraved into the plastic, not just printed on. So that's very exciting. A nice matching set for this Super Nintendo. You're probably wondering if it did come with any games, and it did. Came with, what's that, 7 games here, and all decent titles, actually. We've got Street Fighter 2. What's this one here? Mega Man X, assembled in Mexico. So this is the Majesco release. The Magical Quest, starring Mickey Mouse. Star Fox. We have Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Killer Instinct, and Ms. Pac-Man. Probably the worst game in the bunch, but not a bad game nonetheless. Yeah, that was the Super Nintendo bundle that we picked up. Extremely affordable. I think it was $100 in all for all of that, which is actually a great deal considering that the Super Nintendo itself is harder to find, and all these games are well worth at least $100 by themselves. So not a bad pickup there off of Offerup. I'm very excited to have it because I always like finding these ones as opposed to the original Super Nintendos. They're a lot funner to find, I guess. But next one I want to show you is just regular old amiibo. So with the new Smash game, we have new amiibo, of course, coming out. The newest wave has Ice Climbers, King K. Rool, and Piranha Plant. This one I just got at Target, came across it. Great detail in the Ice Climbers, and Nana and Popo there. Probably one of my favorite amiibos out right now. I haven't found King K. Rool or Piranha Plant yet. I haven't gone out of my way to look for them, but you know, just something I try to pick up as I come across. But yeah, these are pretty cool. I mean, I thought I was done with Amiibo, but of course they added more characters, and of course I had to try to complete the Smash Bros. Series. But yeah, nice little pickup there. Okay, and we're moving on to the last pickup of this week. This came from a new friend of mine, and is actually the brother of an old friend of mine. Came in this box. So our buddy Basic Bits lives a few states away from me, and his brother is into video games more or less as well, and he needed to sell off some of his games. He wanted to get rid of some of them, and so they reached out to me. Both of them reached out to me and see if I wanted to buy any. Of course, you know, I considered everything, or considered all the options of what games he had, and we ended up working out a deal about certain games, and he was able to send me this big old 17-pound package of games, which is great. They're actually all PlayStation games, which is actually not my forte. I love PlayStation, don't get me wrong, but I'm more of a Nintendo guy, but PlayStation games are always great to find, especially games of this quality. So in no particular order, I'm just going to go through some of the games they sent me. It's a lot of them, so bear with me here. We've got 2 copies of Metal Gear Solid and 1 copy of Metal Gear Solid VR Missions. Alright, I'll go through these fairly quickly, just because of time, and there's a lot of games here. We have Spyro 1, 2, and 3. All 3 greatest hits. Jammer Lammy, which is kind of a spiritual successor to Parappa the Rapper. Rhythm Game. Speaking of Parappa the Rapper. Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Clash of the Superheroes. No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. I'm pretty sure it's just Mr. Domino, but it says No One Can Stop. This is a fun one. A fun looking one. I don't know if it is a platformer or what, or a puzzle game. One Piece Mansion. Fairly uncommon title. You don't see this one too often. Made by Capcom. It's kind of a landlord simulator puzzle game. We have this giant stack of Final Fantasy games. We have Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, 8, Final Fantasy Anthology, Final Fantasy Origins, consists of 1 and 2 here. We have Final Fantasy Chronicles, which is 4, and Chrono Trigger. And then we have Final Fantasy Tactics. So basically the entire Final Fantasy series on PlayStation. Another stack of games here. We have Tales of Destiny. Worms Armageddon. And this one is actually pretty funny because Basic Bits helped me get my copy of Worms Armageddon on N64, which is an extremely expensive game, awesome game, hard to find game, and I just think it's funny that his brother, Basic Bits' brother, is now giving me a copy of Worms Armageddon on PlayStation. We have The Legend of Dragoon, Alundra 2, and I know I'm going through these kind of fast. All these games are in fairly good condition. The cases are intact for the most part. Discs are alright. There's only a few of these games that are missing manuals, like 2 of them. I think it was Parasite Eve and Parasite Eve 2, which I haven't showed, but I'll get to. Heart of Darkness and Rhapsody. But yeah, these are more or less in good shape. Vagrant Story, as you can tell, he was a fan of RPGs. We have Parasite Eve and Parasite Eve 2, like I mentioned earlier. Xenogears. What's funny is a lot of these games are actually duplicates of one of the estate sale pickups that my fiance and I grabbed a while back. So a lot of these are duplicates, which is funny because it's not often that you come across, you know, Rhapsody 2 times and, you know, Alundra 2 a couple times in 1 year. A loose copy of Jak and Daxter for PlayStation 2. Alright, we have Intelligent Cube. The second time I've had this in my collection. Bust a Groove #1. I know #2 is quite expensive. Destruction Derby 2. I played a lot of this game back in the day, rented it a lot from my local game rental store. Gex. Oddworld, Abe's Exodus. Alright, and we got these two bad boys here. Lunar, Silver Star Story Complete, and Lunar 2, Eternal Blue Complete. So this is actually the third time that I've had these in my collection. Maybe this time around I'll actually keep them in my collection instead of trading them off for other games. But yeah, these are more or less complete. I believe Lunar Silver Star Story Complete is missing the map that normally comes inside it. But either way, you know, this giant lot of RPGs is incredible from Basic Bits' brother. The last thing, I think he goes by JD Games as well. So I don't know if he has a site or a link or anything, but if I do find anything, I'll leave something down below. He also included these here, which are pretty cool. I'm a big fan of soundtracks. So these are soundtracks for Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy VIII. Multi-disc soundtracks. And probably the soundtrack I'm most excited for here. We have a Club Nintendo one. It's The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. And I don't have this one yet, so I'm very excited to get it. So you can see that Club Nintendo logo right there. And that one is sealed. That's very cool. But anyway, those were all my pickups for this week. There's a whole bunch of them, a whole lot of them. Mainly it's this big, gigantic, humongous, excellent lot from JD Games. Basic Bits' brother. Now I was helping him out because he wanted to get rid of his games. I needed games, of course. I always want games, which is kind of a bad addiction. But I'm not complaining. Thank you again to him. I really appreciate it. All these awesome games, all these awesome finds for this week. And again, I apologize for no video this week, but hopefully this one made up for it. And very excited to be back. Very excited to be making videos again. And if you did like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. We got other pickups, tips and tricks, gameplays, as well as streams. And with that being said, we'll see you guys on the next one.